right stack, 394 Dragon Smoke, Chill, Turbo, stuck and right. Right. Y2, green right off nasty, Hell to Y2, the X base stuck. Doesn't it feel good with the crowd behind you? You know what I'm saying?
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back in the huddle. We finally got a winner. Let's
Man,
go. Back to back.
I can't say too much due to the group chat beef, but congratulations, Quan. You get your
Congrats,
thing,
Juan. Back
man.
to back.
Back to back.
There you go. That's hard to do. I can't even be mad at that. Back to back is something I haven't done myself, so I can't even be mad at that.
Thanks.
But it was close. It was close. Mario was got
Mario didn't have any help from some of his players, man. And I could not believe that happened. So
Rogers did him dirty.
Bruh.
Rogers did him so dirty.
He gotta retire.
Who gonna win him now? I mean, like, you had the year before, you tore your Achilles or whatever. So I mean, they scratched that off. But now that you back healthy, it was a horrible year.
Yeah.
And I mean, looking at Mario's roster, man, if he would have, because he lost Pollard and he lost Tua like days before the game started. If they had both played, this would have been Mario's game. Even though on paper it looked like Quan was gonna run away with it, but he started to in the beginning. The beginning was like, oh, it's a wrap.
He did.
But then Purdy came back with that big game.
That's why I said beforehand in the last episode that I think Quan's team was going to be able to hold off. Like, I couldn't have seen Aaron Rodgers playing that bad, but I could see him having a super low scoring game, and I was just like mystified. So
right. You can't do that.
Down. But in the same token, Bryce held him down more than expectations. So,
Yeah, and I had Bryce in the beginning of the year, and this is how I thought he would play. And then of course, he started playing like shit, and I couldn't hold him on my roster because I needed the spots to play somebody else. I was grabbing for straws at one point in time. And then of course later on in the season he comes back. They sent this man for a few games, and all of a sudden now he realizes how to play football again. But Bryce did hold him down.
He did, man.
So congrats, Quan. Almost had a Mario maybe next year. But it was a good game. Everybody fought hard. It was a good season. I had to go back to I was looking at the wins and losses, and I had to go back to like 2019 to when we had a season where there was not a team that had double-digit wins. So like this year was really, really close. Everybody was 1 or 2 games away from at the top, like 6, 7, 1, 2 games away from each other. So it was a good year. It was a good, pretty even year. Nobody really ran away with it. So let's get to this money. Let's see who came home with the biggest money bag. Top earner this year was Mario. He came home with $400. Yeah. So everybody doesn't know, but Mario and Quan split the pot. So $350 apiece. Can't get mad.
Can't get mad at that.
Yeah. It worked out well for Mario.
It did.
Worked out very well. So Mario came home with $400, and then Quan came home with $360. And then who was third? And then of course you were third with 100. And then there was a lot of players, a lot of teams who had like the highest score of the week. So Chase came in with like $20, so did Eamon. Even EJ came home with 10, and Ray came home with 60 actually. And I came home with like 30. So the team with the most regular season points went to Ray with 4,140 points. So Ray's team was in a bag this year. Just didn't work out for him towards the end.
It'd be like that, man.
And then the best regular season record for $30 went to Mario at 9-5. He beat you out because he had more points.
And that's what's crazy.
But I mean, it was 295s. I think we had like two or three 8 and 6s. I mean,
Yeah, it
he was
was
right
neck and neck
there.
though.
Yeah, he was right. He was right there. So congrats to everybody who won some money and brought some money home. Hopefully you made more than you spent on fantasy this year. I know I barely made it on top.
Barely broke even.
Right. Right. I think I came home with like $630 this year, so I barely made it out. I know
Dang.
you was killing it with 880 in total
Yeah, yeah.
between 3 leagues. And congrats on winning Dynasty.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Now, let's go back to that real quick because there's been years after year after year where you like, bro, I'm gonna quit. I'm done. I'm done with Dynasty. And I told you what, I kept saying, bro, the league is set up to where if you in last place, it helps you get back. You just gotta draft right, and in the next few years you're gonna be on top.
Bruh,
Was I right?
you was right, but that shit was painstaking.
I think he had top picks like back to back years one time.
Yes, bruh. And then the year before this, I had a top 3 pick because Joe Burrow got hurt.
Yeah, yeah. But now you solid. Now your team's straight. You don't
We'll
think
see,
so?
man. We'll see, man.
All right, all right. Yeah, I think it'd be all right. I think it'd be all right. So yeah, congrats to everybody who won some money, and let's get to these awards.
Yeah, let's get into these.
Yeah, these
So
are very interesting.
let's start off with the Alex Smith Comeback Manager of the Year, Most
Yep.
Improved record from last year. So it's a 2-way tie.
Mm-hmm.
Mario last year record 8-5. This year record 9-5. Tied with Chase. Last year record 7-7. This year's record 8-6. So neck and neck.
Very modest. I think last year's comeback player was you. I think he came back like I think it was from like 4 wins to like 9 wins or something like that. It was something crazy.
Yeah.
But nobody really,
Unfortunately.
this year was so close. Nobody really ran
Yeah.
away with it. So congrats. Then we had the Johnny Manziel Award, which is the opposite, the underachiever, which is crazy because it's a Johnny Manziel Award, and the award goes out to the least improved record from last year. And
And it's an above 500 record.
right. And so last year Ray had it. He was 8-6 last year. Or I'm sorry, he was 12-2 last year, and he was 8-6 this year, which is still bananas because 8-6 is still a great record, and he had the most points. You know what I'm saying? And he had a great season, but yet, so to call him underachiever of the year sounds like,
The league just got better. That's all
yeah,
that means.
you're right. That's a good way to look at it. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say Ray's team was bad. Ray had a bad year because Ray had a great year,
Right.
but he was. I can't believe he was 12-2 last year. Damn, 12-2. It's a hell of a year.
Right.
You can't go anywhere but down, really. I mean, unless you go undefeated.
Right.
All right, and our next award is the most indecisive manager of the year. The manager that always does the most add and drops throughout the season. And like in this league, there's no waiver, so people add and drop all the time.
Crazy.
And sometimes you watching it like why, why even bother adding those players? Let's let it go. And again, so back to back years, the winner is Chase with 103 add and drops.
103.
103, and last year I think it was like 140 something. BK was close with 91, but besides those two, I mean the next one down I think was like 40 or something like that, or 50.
Yeah.
So yeah, Chase is very active. Very active, but Chase also wins a lot too, so I can't really get that mean. Does it correlate?
That's what I was just gonna say. Like his activity is productivity. So
Yeah.
hey, man. So in the next, we have the "Fuck You Pay Me" award. Manager who beat the Yahoo Draft Day projections the most this year. The winner is Clarence. His draft day projection is 1-13, and he finished 7-7. So shout out to Clarence for finishing better than the Yahoo's expectations.
Bruh, Clarence is like the overachiever of the year. Like we sat there and looked at his roster and was like, this team doesn't look that great, but he just kept winning.
Bruh. But that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Like his team just crashed at the end.
Yeah.
Like once everybody's players got healthy, he capitalized when he needed to, though.
Yeah, he blew through his bye weeks and kept winning.
Right.
Back to back to back to back. But damn, to be projected 1-13, and now I was projected pretty low too, but 1-13 is tough. I can't. I mean, imagine like going through the entire off season, like doing research and putting together shit and listening to stuff and reading stuff, and then you do a draft. And you're like, I bet I got this, and then y'all would be like, nah, bro, you didn't do good at all.
That is a horrible feeling, though. You know, you put your time and you invest in research, and then you draft, and then you don't feel good about the draft.
Yeah,
that's the worst.
It's deplete. Yeah, it's oh
like,
man,
how did I mess up? Like I thought I had a playbook of how this was going to go.
And then you do mock drafts, and you get to the draft day, and it goes completely different than your mock drafts,
right?
Because you can't really mock people's emotions,
right? You really can't.
It's man, yeah, that's real. It's real defeated. But he overcame. He overcame. Number of props going 7-7. He won more games than I did, so I can't talk too much shit about that. You know what I'm saying? Damn. But yeah, that's good job, Clarence. Let's get to these voter awards because these were interesting. I want to get your viewpoint on a lot of these.
I want to get into that.
So before we get into though, I want to say one thing or two things. First, shout out to everybody who voted because we actually got 10 votes this year. Everybody voted, so I really appreciate the everybody participating in voting. And two, let us know if there's something else you want that we should be adding to this to make things more interesting. We had 4 last year. We added 1 more this year, which is a funny one. So I wouldn't mind adding a few more, as long as they're interesting and they actually make sense. So let us know about that one. So the first one, the biggest draft day steal. Now I went through a lot of these. I literally went through like each week. for the draft day, of course, is the draft day. But when we get to waiver wire stuff, I went through each single week and I was going through all the days, all the adds and drops, and trying to figure out who was what. And the best 4 that I came up with was Baker Mayfield in the 7th round, Brian Thomas in the 8th, Brock in the 9th, and Sam Darnold in the 17th. And I think, as you can imagine, that Sam Darnold ran away with it with was that 70% of the vote? Mm-hmm. Is that who you voted for?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the crazy part about that is Eman traded him away to you. This man had the biggest draft day steal, and then said, "You know what? Fuck that. I don't need him." And traded his ass over to you.
And so that's what makes me like. We're gonna get into it, but yeah, that was a great pickup from him.
But who'd you get for that trade? I can't even remember. Or who did he get for that? Who'd you give up to get Darnold?
I don't even remember.
That's the sad part. It wasn't even that significant enough to remember who it was. So it probably didn't help him at all.
Because I started out with Russell and Trevor, and I traded away Russell for Nico.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I forgot what I traded. Maybe it was a running back. Maybe it was a receiver. I think it was a receiver.
It could have been receiver. And I'm looking back now and I'm thinking to myself, I wonder how good he would have did had he kept him, because he had Jared Goff and he had Matthew Stafford, and Stafford was kind of up and down all year. Yeah. And he had Herbert. Herbert was solid, but he didn't play Herbert when he needed to play him. But Darnold was like MVP candidate at the time for the trade. So I mean, man, it's bananas. So yeah, he got 70% of the vote. 20% went to Brock Bowers, and 10% went to Brian Thomas. And I thought Baker Mayfield would get more votes because he actually, to me, really outperformed his projections by far this year.
He did, but I didn't think it was far fetched.
Okay, it wasn't out of the realm of possibility he would do this well.
Yeah. Like he could put up them numbers.
Okay. Biggest draft day bust. Marvin Harrison in the first round, Travis Etienne in the second round, Caleb Williams in the second round. It was Marvin Harrison with 40% of the vote, and I had Harrison, and yeah, it is what it is. I mean,
Ah,
he projected to do a lot more. I thought he would do a whole lot more. I thought they would treat him like they did Neighbors, like I said before. They did not. Kyler Murray didn't play as well. I thought he was going to play this season, so it didn't pan out. But
I think
yeah,
he's gonna have a good sophomore year. I think
yeah,
that's gonna be where he shines.
I think next year he'll go underdrafted, and then he'll be a steal next year.
Yeah,
But that whole offense needs to improve.
yeah, for
But it
sure.
wasn't it wasn't that far. I mean, I had 40% of the vote, and 30% went to Travis Etienne, and another 30% went to Caleb Williams. Is that right? Yeah. Um, I voted Caleb Williams at first. Right, voted Caleb Williams because I was like, "Fuck, I ain't one for myself." But but also like he also was like supposed to be like the second coming, and he fell flat a little bit as well. But
Yeah,
but I mean I understand Marvin Harrison winning that vote. I'm not against it. I get it. Best waiver wire pickup, and that one went to who we have? It was Chuba Hubbard and Chase Brown. You
yeah,
think I missed anybody there? I don't think I missed anybody. I think there's two. I only had two choices, but I felt like there's the best two choices. There was one
yeah.
more in
It
like
was Chase Brown.
yeah. You
It
thought
was
Chase
Chase
Brown?
Brown and Chuba Hubbard.
Yeah.
No, I picked Chuba.
So let me go back a little bit because there were some players that I think were good waiver pickups, but they were picked up and dropped and picked up and dropped, and then they balled out. Like McMillan on the Bucks was a great
Oh,
pickup, but he
he
went to
wasn't a
like
consistent pickup for anybody.
yeah, like these two players were picked up week one and held all year, whereas McMillan was dropped like several times. And like for instance, when I picked up Jameis Winston at one point in time, like he had a little streak of a few weeks where he was just balling out of his mind. But then like 4 or 5 teams had Jameis this
Hmm.
year. So I try to skip those and just go to the ones that were there consistently. So it was yeah, between Chuba Hubbard and Chase Brown, and Chuba Hubbard won 60% to
Yeah,
40%.
yeah, for sure. I think the year he had in Chase Brown was splitting carries for a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, shit. So yeah, he definitely had a bigger impact. I think if they were to start the year off at the same rate, maybe it's different.
hmm
But based on how the season went, for sure, Chuba.
And I think it was unexpected a little bit because
Hmm.
I mean I wrote him off a little bit. I'm not big. I mean, now he's produced better, but I wasn't up until that point in the beginning of the season. I wasn't a big Hubbard fan. Um, so I was surprised to see him do so well, and I thought that Jonathan Brooks was gonna come back at some point in the season and take over that role as
Same.
well. So that's why I didn't draft him at all. And Chase Brown, um, I think he was splitting carries with Zach Moss in the beginning, and they were trying to say Zach
Yep.
Moss was leaning towards him being the 1A. So that wasn't as surprising, but yeah, Chuba really did ball out, and that was with Ray. So you got a little theme going on here with Ray and Eman, as you can see. So the most annoying trader.
Bro, how am I the most annoying trader?
So Scholar won that with 4 votes. It was a lot of people voted for this. It was a lot of went across the board. So Scholar had 40%. I had 20%, and so did Clarence. And then 10% went to EJ, and 10% went to Eamon. Which is crazy because Eamon usually present pretty good trade scenarios. Like Eamon doesn't really hit me over the head. But I'm curious just to see what you were setting out there to have people think that you had the worst trade.
Hey, look, man. I don't know, bro. I just throw something out there to get the table started. It ain't got to be the final set in place. That's all. I'm just trying to open the door. You know what I mean? Open the door for a negotiation.
But if you open the door and it's too crazy, then they won't come back with anything.
Nah, just say so. What you looking for? So what's not on the table? You got to come in. You know what I mean?
So, what were some of the responses you received back when you put that feeler out there?
I usually get a crazy response back,
There's your first hint.
or they send something that's comparable, and we like try to negotiate from there. Then it either lives or it dies.
Yeah. I think
But if my trades are so horrible, how come I make so many trades? That's what I don't understand.
so. I think this year there was a rub with the trades made with EJ. So I know I'm thinking that you and I got those votes because we traded with him the most, I believe, out of everybody in the league. And I think some people felt like we robbed him of these trades. So they probably picked us because of that.
But I traded with like 4 people.
Yeah, it's true.
So my trades can't be that crazy if I traded with almost half the league.
So it comes down to player value, I guess. And like the 4 people you trade with had good player value or similar player values or saw players similarly to you. And the other, 6.
Hey man, we got to look ourselves in the mirror.
Okay.
We got to look ourselves in the mirror.
All right, so let's get to this last one. And this last one to me was very, very interesting. So this is a new one we added for this year. We put the GM of the year. And so it went almost everybody in the league got a vote. So I'll get to it in a second. But the winner was Quan. Quan got 3 votes. Ray got 2 votes. And then like damn near everybody else got 1. Who is this? You got 1. I think I got 1. Clarence got 1. EJ got 1. Was that Mark got 1?
Himself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Niggas vote for themselves.
So that's what I was gonna say because like so spoiler, I was hanging out with Ray.
He said spoiler alert.
Yeah. I'm hanging out with Ray, Mario, and Quan yesterday. And at the time when we was hanging out, there was like 8 votes that were cast. And so out of those 8, there were 7 of them were all like 7 different people. Because at one point there were 7 votes and there was all a different person. So I guarantee at this point everybody voted for themselves. And then there's an 8th vote, which was mine, and I voted for Ray. And so that's why he has 2 votes. And then I'm curious to see who you voted for. But I sat down and like I talked to the guys. I was like, hey, if you haven't voted yet, go ahead and vote. And then Quan said he hadn't voted yet, and then he voted while he was at the house. And then I looked at the votes, and I saw Quan had an extra vote. So I know Quan voted for himself. So who did you vote for?
I voted for myself.
Everybody voted for themselves.
But I got a legitimate reason.
What's the reason?
I'm just the best. What you mean?
So there is a legit reason to vote for Quan because Quan did win. So it's very easy to say you're GM of the year because you won the league. That's very straightforward. I can't argue with that sentiment. I voted for Ray because I was going back and looking at some of these other metrics we had and looking at the biggest draft day steal. He was part of that list with Eamon. And looking at the best waiver pickup, it was him and Eamon. The highest points scored in the league, it was Ray. Mm-hmm. So like you look at all these different things, Ray was always in the mix with something like that. So I was like, he had a great year. It didn't pan out at the end, but his team was balling at one point in time. They were doing really well. That's why I selected Ray. But
that's a great reason, man.
I guess I was too logical. I think everybody was winning. It was like, fuck it, me. So I guess so my question is like, is this really? Should we remove this one for next year? Because is it really any value if everybody in the leagues is gonna vote for themselves?
Yeah, we should just remove it, bro. There's no reason to keep it.
So you're saying that nobody's gonna humble themselves and be like, hey, I didn't have a great year, or even if I did have a decent year, so and so had a better year than me. You don't think it's worth it?
I do. Does everyone else?
Apparently not.
So let's get better of it.
All right, so we'll figure out some other ones to add in here to make it a little more interesting. We'll probably go ahead and scrap GM of the year. GM of the year. I guess we'll go ahead and just crown the person who won the season that year as a GM of the year. So congrats, Quan. You win nothing. These awards. There is no additional trophy, no additional money, but you got bragging rights, I guess, until next season. All right, let's get to what everybody wants to see here. So I reached out to EJ since he did finish the league last to see if he was willing to do the punishment wheel, and EJ said he would do it. I will say that I probably should have asked him this question like a week in advance to give him time to sit on it and think about it. But I asked him like this afternoon, and he's like, "How much time do I have to decide?" So he got to about 8:30. At 8:30, we need to know because we're going to be going on the pod and we'll talk about it. But he said he's going to do it. I don't think he's going to back out. But I did tell him that if you do it, then you get your selection of where you want to pick in the first round next year, or your draft selection next year, your draft spot. So I think that interests him because I know he wants to do better from last place because he was already in the middle of the year already setting his team up for next year with his keepers and stuff. So I'm sure that interests him. So he will do it. So let me go ahead and get this wheel out.
Let's get it.
Hope y'all can see that. All right. Ready?
Let's go.
Drum roll. That's a good spin right there, too. What does that say? The pirate dinner. Oh, man. All right. So, EJ, for the pirate dinner, it actually isn't that bad. But we're going to make it bad, though. We're going to find a way to make it bad. You got to go to a restaurant, dress as a pirate. And you got to talk like a pirate as well. And any question they'll be asking, you have to respond as a pirate. Any question the waiter asks you, you have to respond as a pirate. Now, I want to make sure that when we do this, we can get everybody there who in attendance in the league. We're mostly all local, so it should be like 6, 7 of us there. Pick a restaurant sometime before the beginning of next season that everybody can work with, and and we'll get video. It's gonna be video. It's gonna be recorded. It's gonna be hilarious. All right, so you got it, EJ. That's what you gotta do. That's actually not that bad. There's some other ones on there that are pretty like.
Welcome to the league, man.
Yeah. That was one of the easier ones. So you came out easier. I was looking at that ghost pepper one, and that one's tough. Damn. The loser lemonade stand. I want to see that one. I really want to see that one.
Man.
All right, but you got it, EJ. That's your punishment. I should get a trophy for that too, like a loser trophy, like a I don't know something real whack. I pass it out to the losers each year, and you got to display it somewhere in the house so we all can see it.
Oh damn!
You can't hide it. You can't just put it in the house and hide it. You got to display it somewhere.
Damn.
And you got to bring it to the draft. All right, well, that's the season, man. How you feel about the season? I know you didn't win, but
I felt great about the season until I felt great about the season. I want to say, starting at week 11, every week I lost a player, and then at the end of the season, it was just insurmountable. Like I needed one more receiver to be healthy. Like Jalen Waddle was starting to cook, then he got hurt. Then like
Always
J.K.,
hurt.
then like somebody else get hurt. Like I couldn't play anybody on my bench. I had to go on the waivers. Like everybody on my team was on IR or out.
Mm-hmm.
So other than that, man, it was a great season. It was competitive. Like it
Yeah.
didn't turn out too far crazy, like worse than what I expected. You know, next year I'm already been working on my strategy for the draft for next year and getting myself together. So
Love to hear it.
yeah,
Love to
man.
hear it. Got there early. I thought the league was done well. I think that I like seeing some new blood at the top of the list of the league and in the playoffs. Yeah, I mean, I think that injuries really hurt receivers this year, and it didn't usually really hurt running backs. But running backs kind of went unscathed throughout the season, besides McCaffrey, of course. But everybody else kind of went unscathed, and receivers basically getting punished left and right,
Yeah,
and they could not stay healthy with concussions and all kind of stuff, and that really hurt me. But overall, yeah, I think it went well. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody at the draft next year, in person. I want to keep doing that. I still want to try to get it at Roses next year if I can. Or it's 2025 now, this year. So look out for that. Yeah, it was good. I mean, I won a little bit of money overall on fantasy, not been in my league. It's about $30, but hey, it is what it is. I'll get up with Quan, get a trophy from him, get that engraved, hopefully this weekend. And we'll be done with it. I am happy though to get away. Like fantasy is so long, you're so happy back at the beginning, but like when it gets to the playoffs, I'm just like, man, let's be done with it, man. Right? Get a little burnt out. Yeah, just go ahead and let me know.
This year was worse because it was like football every other day. So it's like
Yeah,
I'm so invested. Like I want to watch, but it's also the holidays, so you're also trying to spend time with family. Like
yeah.
and the Christmas Day games didn't help. Like it was
Christmas
just
Day
a
games,
lot.
I don't think they really were needed, but they had a lot of viewership, so it ain't going nowhere.
Right. That's
They
what I'm
broke
saying.
records, so they ain't going nowhere at all. They made money off of that.
Right.
But yeah, it was a little weird having that. It was too busy. It had too much going on, and then the games were playing. And I was just like, man, I can't
Right.
call it. But
And if I don't watch, I feel like my players don't perform. So
I'll watch until they start
they
playing like
stop
shit.
performing. Yeah.
I was like, fuck football. I'll cut it off and watch something else on like Netflix or something like that. Like I
Facts.
can't. Yeah, when the game started, I have both TVs on. But like, I bet I'm ready to go. And then like
Locked
come like
in.
second quarter, I don't see anybody performing anywhere. People getting injured. I'm like, man, fuck football. I'm done with it for the day. I'm do something else. Like I don't even want to watch this shit no more.
Oh man.
But if they balling, I ain't moving.
Right. You locked in.
Oh yeah. But that's all we got for y'all this week and this year. We'll see y'all next year. Probably have one off season pod like last time. We did a recap of the summer of the draft and shit like that, and then get into the season. But yeah, until next season.
Yeah.
Holla at you later.
Yeah.
We out.
We out, man. See y'all next season. Good luck to y'all boys. We out.
Peace.